also, when I meet poor people, they don't respect property. They think property is just property. So they'll live in cheap houses or drive cheap cars or wear cheap clothes or cheap shoes. Men should never wear cheap shoes. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about my friend Josh here. So Josh, pop in the video here. Tell us what happened here. So this is Josh. He's the guy behind the camera. And I'm glad he has the courage. He's a very good young man, strong young man. Talk about a lesson you just learned on property.
Kenny McElroy, he gave me the coolest car ever that he had bought from you, Robert, which was a 1957 Porsche Speedster. And it was the coolest car ever. And so he gave it to me last January as my daily driver as to what I was driving to and from work and anywhere that I was going. And in June, I left Arizona to go to Colombia, but I took the car and I gave it back to Ken. And what happened was the wheels were messed up. There was a mirror issue.
The mirror was broken.
The mirror was broken. And so I didn't take care of the car or respect it to the degree that I ever should have. And it was incredibly irresponsible.
It's a very light car. When Ken said the tires were burned out, that means you were jamming the transmission. Those are expensive cars. So anyway, I was saying to Josh, my car, I have one car in here that's $400,000. It's property. Now, do I need a $400,000 car? No. But as I explained in other videos, how do I buy a $400,000 car without me paying for it? My answer is buy the car. But I take care of my property. He's very courageous, very brave to come up here. So I want to talk about mistakes and how we learn. That's the most important thing. So what have you learned so far?
What was really eye-opening to me was when you told me that the poor people don't respect property. And he said, Josh, you don't respect what you have. You're just a stupid rich kid who doesn't respect what you have. And you'll never be rich if you don't learn how to respect what you have.
Property.
Property.
So a lot of people say, oh, what difference does it make if my watch isn't $50,000? Makes all the difference up here, because that means you're poor up here, not here. And that's what I want to say to Josh is that one of the best lessons I ever learned, we learn from our mistakes. And the reason human beings are different than animals, we have the ability to learn from our mistakes. And the reason our school system is so screwed up and school teachers are such poor people is in the school system, they think you make mistakes means you're stupid. The only reason you're stupid is because you make a mistake and don't learn from it. You wasted a good mistake. Now I'll give you an example. I said, Porsche, it's an expensive mistake. But when I was in the U.S. Marine Corps flying helicopter gunships, I was court-martialed twice. Not just once, but twice. So I say to all the young men out there, join the Marine Corps. If you really want to understand how to become a man, join the Marine Corps or Navy SEALs, because they're tough as frickin' nails. My friend, who is a 3-star general, now a congressman, the big dog, he says they can't find men today. It's really painful. There's lots of women volunteering for the armed services, but the men aren't showing up. I think 70% don't qualify who show up. And the men are effeminate, they're not strong, and they're like TikTok dancers. The first time I got court-martialed was out of Hong Kong. You have a carrier, then you have support vehicles, the destroyers and frigates around you. And the carrier pulls into Hong Kong, and we go to this huge party with the Indians from India, the Gurkha party. So we're at this Gurkha party, dancing and having a good time. It was a fun evening, and I had this hot girl from Tahiti with me. Oh, she was the hottest. Oh, I love Tahitian women. Anyway, so I'm at this party. My friend, who is the 3-star general today, Marines take care, he's a fellow pilot. He says, get out of here now. I said, why? He says, get out of here now. We're pulling out. He says, take her with you. Get out of here now. So here we're this fantastic party on this hill in Hong Kong. So I grabbed this little hot Tahitian chick. We run, and I lived on an American Express for a while. But what happened was, what I was being warned of, the whole squadron, the battle group of carriers, they're driving to Vietnam that night. I missed the ship. And so for 3 weeks, I was in Hong Kong living on the American Express, I had to buy I get tailor-made clothes and living like a king with a little hot Tahitian chick. And I get back to the squadron, and I still remember the helicopter drops me off. I knew I was going to have to make an entrance because I was going to get court-martialed. So when I was in Hong Kong, I had a whole outfit made of purple. I had purple shirt, purple pants, and purple shoes. And I stepped off the helicopter on the carrier, and all the guys were cheering me. I was going, handcuffs straight. I said, oh, yeah, I did it. And so the trial goes, and I sat there, and this guy hated me. My commanding officer I hated him, he hated me. He says, da-da-da-da-da, you be charged for basically missing a movement, or AWOL, absent without leave, court-martial offense. I said, there's one thing wrong, Colonel. He goes, what? You didn't give me notice. He says, what? He didn't know this. I went to military school, to an academy. Trump went to an academy also, military school. But I went to a school that taught me admiralty law. The law says you must give a sailor 24-hour notice before sailing. So if you're going to sail at, let's say, 12 noon, but you change it to something, a notice has to go up 24 hours. Colonel, there was no 24-hour notice. The board wasn't posted. He goes, what does that mean? I called the prosecuting attorney. I said, read to him the law on this here. He says, Colonel, he's correct. We did not post the sailing time. We sailed early. So he didn't miss the ship. The ship left him. So I'm going, and this colonel hates me even more now. And you should talk to my friend Congressman Jack Bergman, 3-star general and all this. It was tense in that room, man. It's like this. And so the guy says, leave. I was like, fuck. So I left. This was the problem. I didn't get the lesson. The lesson was I lied. I knew we were leaving. But the worst thing about it was I got cocky. Once I could get away with that lesson, I was going to try another one. So 2 years later, I'm flying out of Hawaii now, Marine Corps Air Station, Hawaii. This was during the Vietnam War. Our Marines had shaved heads. It was hard to pick up chicks, in Waikiki. That was my excuse anyway. The way we'd pick up chicks, tourist chicks, is we'd walk up to them and say, hey, you want to go for a helicopter ride? And they all said yes. So we used to pick them up on this deserted flight. I'd fly from the Marine station to this barren airfield, and these chicks would jump in the helicopter, and we'd fly to this deserted island called Kaho'olawe. And we had beer and guns and shooting. And we're always going for the Mile High Club, see if we could get laid up in the sky. Having the best of time, drunk as a skunk. But that's what happened when they didn't catch me the first time. So the second time, I did a bigger crime, if you know what I mean. So I come taxiing in. I dropped the beautiful young tourist chicks off. I come taxiing in, and this... As soon as I turned off the throttle, not that you need it, but once you crack that throttle, you can't start it again for about 3 hours. So as soon as I went, the guys came up, they opened the door, and the first thing that fell out were beer cans. The second thing that fell out was me. Then they looked in the back, they found a dead deer, which I shot on the way back from the helicopter. And I had scuba gear, diving gear. And that's what take diving up to altitude. It's like a bomb going off up there. So now, again, I was back in handcuffs. I'm locked up. I'm going to court-martial for the second time. And I'm sitting there, I really had to contemplate my life. And I said, what am I learning here? And I did a thing back then, was called EST, E-S-T, Earhart Seminars Training. Today it's called LifeSpring or something like that, Personal Development Seminar. So I took that seminar, I went, oh my God. And I got the lessons, I'm a liar, I'm a cheat, I'm a scumbag. They're proceeding on they're finding all the documents. I had lied so many times that they found so much evidence against me. It was stacks of evidence. Flying this way, doing that. I was stealing from the warehouse, like a big Walmart. I understood how to take the whole system. I was a complete criminal. When I realized I was a complete criminal because I was smart, because I could get away with it, I was going, oh my God. So I still remember I was under house arrest. I called up Captain Abrams, the prosecutor, tough Jewish guy. I said, Captain, I'm coming in. He goes, what? So I'm turning myself in. He goes, what? So I'm turning myself in. So I drove from Waikiki all across the island to the Marine Air Station, sat down, deposition. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I said, yes, sir. So on this date, did you do this? Yes, sir. On this, did you do this? Did you steal? Did you do this? Were you flying women naked? Were you having sex in the sky? Yes. Were you drunk? Yes. Were you shooting animals out of your helicopter? Yes. Did you have scuba gear? Yes. I sat there, and I think I lost 20 pounds. He says, anything else, Lieutenant? And I said, no, sir. Congratulations. Thank you for telling the truth. So as we're packaging it up, still in the courtroom on the base, and I said, Captain, how many years will I go to jail? He looked at me and says, Lieutenant, you're free. You'll have an honorable discharge in 6 months. I said, what? An honorable discharge. Yep. But, take it, Lieutenant. Thank you for telling the truth. We're not after you. We're after your commanding officer. Your commanding officer is a bigger crook than you are. And I didn't know that. Lieutenant, as a colonel. So I drove off that base, and that's when it was, the truth shall set you free. So ever since then, I've been a stickler not to lie. If I make a mistake, I admit it right away. If it costs me money, I'll pay the money. Also, when I got married, I never cheated on Kim. Never. I would never cheat on my wife. A lot of guys cheat. I said, I'm not going to do that. So that's why I have a tremendous love and respect for the Marine Corps, because there's a lot of, from the Lord's Prayer, I'm not being religious, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. The best way to do it is you fuck up, own it, tell the truth, get the lesson, pay the price, move on. But a lot of people are trying to pretend, like Bill Clinton, our president, he never had sex with Monica Lewinsky because he wanted to define what sex is. To him, a blowjob is not sex. I'm going, oh, give me a break. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's why he was president. Ladies and gentlemen, I just choose to live my life. The truth will set you free. You make a mistake, it's the best thing you can do, because a mistake is something you can learn from. And I've made lots of mistakes, money-wise, financial-wise, relationships-wise, but the mistakes are how we learn. And I'll say it again, the reason most school teachers are poor is because they teach students don't make mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you.